Hey guys, today is Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. Today we're going to do Leviticus chapter 25 because last week we did chapter 24. This is about the Sabbath and they call a year of Jubilee. And as we get into it, just kind of think of it as like a great reset where God was setting it up so no matter what, after 50 years, whoever fell on hardship could redeem themselves, whether they had to get sold into slavery or whether they sold property that was their families, they have a chance to come get it back. So this is kind of like a great reset from the Lord. So we'll jump into it. Chapter 25. The Lord said to Moses at Mount Sinai, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you enter the land I am going to give you, the land itself must observe a Sabbath to the Lord. For 6 years sow your fields, and for 6 years prune your vineyards and gather their crops. But in the 7th year, the land is to have a year of Sabbath rest, a Sabbath to the Lord. Do not sow your fields or prune your vineyards. Do not reap what grows or itself, or harvest the grapes of your untended vines. The land is to have a year of rest. Whatever the land yields during the Sabbath year will be food for you for yourself, your male and female servants, and the hired worker and temporary residents who live among you, as well as your livestock and the wild animals in your land. Whatever the land produces may be eaten." So this is like pasture rotation kind of, but it's based on like the holy concept of a Sabbath, the Sabbath. So the 7th year, they're going to rest it. They're not going to push hard and harvest for sale. They're just going to keep it for themselves and give it to the Lord. And the Lord's saying, if you do this, then we will have, I will bless you. And this is where you learn to fear the Lord too, because if you try to do this on your own, it might not rain, you might get, might get floods, might get drought, might get wild animals, you never know. So we're really learning to fear the Lord here, to lean on the Lord, and to rest our land, rest ourselves, and give it all to God. Count off 7 Sabbath years, 7 times 7 years, so that the 7 Sabbath years amount to a period of 49 years. Then have the trumpet sounded everywhere on the 10th day of the 7th month on the Day of Atonement. Sound the trumpet throughout your land. Consecrate the 50th year and proclaim liberty throughout the land to all its inhabitants. It shall be a jubilee for you. Each of you is to return to your family property and to your own clan. The 50th year shall be a jubilee for you. Do not sow and do not reap what grows of itself, or harvest the untended vines, for it is a jubilee and is to be holy for you. Eat only what is taken directly from the fields. In this year of jubilee, everyone is to return to their property. If you sell land to any of your own people or buy land from them, do not take advantage of each other. You are to buy from your own people on the basis of the number of years since the Jubilee, and they are to sell to you on the basis of the number of years left for harvesting crops. When the years are many, you are to increase the price, and when the years are few, you are to decrease the price, because what is really being sold to you is the number of crops. Do not take advantage of each other, but fear your God. I am the Lord your God. So it's kind of a long-term lease. Like they're selling based on how many years to the next harvest, because they're going to Sabbath every 7th year. And then on the 50th, you got to understand, they just came off of a Sabbath and they're going to do another year of Jubilee. So it's like 2 years. So the 9th year is when they actually get to start again. And so you sell someone land based on it's essentially a lease to use to harvest, but then every 50th year it gets returned to the family, to the clan, and it kind of helps everyone restart and reboot. Follow my decrees and be careful to obey my laws, and you will live safely in the land. Then the land will yield its fruit, and you will eat your fill and live there in safety. You may ask, what will we eat in the 7th year if we do not plant or harvest our crops? The Lord said, I will send you such a blessing in the 6th year that the land will yield enough for 3 years. So if you guys have a God-sized dream, or you're led somewhere and you're following God, and this is where like the blind faith comes in, and this is what God's really teaching us right now. I will send you such a blessing in the 6th year that the land will yield enough for 3 years. While you plant during the 8th year, you will eat from the old crop and will continue to eat from it until the harvest of the 9th year comes in. The land must not be sold permanently, because the land is mine, and you reside in my land as foreigners and strangers. Remember I said it was like a lease? It's God's land. Throughout the land that you hold as a possession, you must provide for the redemption of the land. If one of your fellow Israelites becomes poor and sells some of their property, their nearest relative is to come and redeem what they have sold. If, however, there is no one to redeem it for them, but later on they prosper and acquire sufficient means to redeem it themselves, they are to determine the value for the years since they sold it and refund the balance to the one whom they sold it. They can then go back to their own property. But if they do not acquire the means to repay, what was sold will remain in the possession of the buyer until the year of Jubilee. So it could be up to 50 years if you sell it on a hardship and you can't get it back. But if it's within your own clan, within the own, like the Hebrew people, they have a chance, and you're supposed to try to sell it to a family member so you can redeem it on the Sabbath year. It will be returned in the Jubilee, and they can then go back to their property. Anyone who sells a house in a walled city retains the right of redemption a full year after its sale. A walled house in the city. During that time, the seller may redeem it. If it is not redeemed before a full year has passed, the house in the walled city shall belong permanently to the buyer and the buyer's descendants. It is not to be returned in the Jubilee. So that one stays permanent if you can't do it, which is a house in a walled city retains the right of redemption during that time. A seller, if it is not redeemed, okay, so there's certain circumstances for that. But houses and villages without walls around them are to be considered as belonging to the open country. They can be redeemed, and they are to be returned in the Jubilee. It's like the Williamson Act. The Levites always have the right to redeem their houses in the Levitical towns, which they possess. So remember the Levites are Aaron's descendants, and that's who oversaw the priesthood. So the property of the Levites is redeemable. That is, a house sold in any town they hold, and is to be returned in the Jubilee, because the houses and the towns of the Levites are their property among the Israelites. But the pasture land belonging to their towns must not be sold. It is their permanent possession. If any of your fellow Israelites become poor and are unable to support themselves among you, help them as you would for a foreigner and a stranger, so they can continue to live among you. Do not take interest or any profit from them, but fear your God, so that they may continue to live among you. You must not lend them money at interest or sell them food at a profit. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt to give you the land of Canaan and to be your God. So he's really trying to stop. God, this is all laws still. So, I mean, and we talked about this. As we go through Leviticus, there's a lot of laws, and the Lord's setting up laws to where his people aren't quarreling over real estate, and if they fall in hard times, it's a redemption. Same as Jesus redeemed us. This is the concept of it, and how they can get along and enter into a new land and not quarrel. But these are the laws that go along with it if there is some kind of quarreling. If any of your fellow Israelites become poor and sell themselves to you, do not make them work as slaves. They are to be treated as hired workers or temporary residents. Temporary residents among you. They are to work for you until the year of Jubilee. Then they and their children are to be released, and they will go back to their own clans and to the property of their ancestors. Because the Israelites are my servants, whom I brought out of Egypt, they must not be sold as slaves. Do not rule over them ruthlessly, but fear your God. So fear the Lord, and if any of you are in a position of authority, like you're a manager or boss or a business owner, just remember, treat your people good. Okay? They're not your slaves. Treat your people good. They're on your team, and that's what God's saying. And so if we're granted authority, then we need to handle this in a godly way and be grateful and use it responsibly. Your male and female slaves are to come from the nations around you. From them you may buy slaves. You may also buy some of the temporary residents living among you and members of their clans born in your country, and they will become your property. You can bequeath them to your children as inherited property and can make them slaves for life, but you must not rule over your fellow Israelites ruthlessly. Ruthlessly. Do not be ruthless to your people. If a foreigner residing among you becomes rich and any of your fellow Israelites become poor and sell themselves to the foreigner or to a member of the foreigner's clan, they retain the right of redemption after they have sold themselves. One of their relatives may redeem them. An uncle or a cousin or any blood relative in their clan may redeem them. Or if they prosper, they may redeem themselves. They and their buyer are to count the time from the year they sold themselves up to the year of Jubilee. The price for their release is to be based on the rate paid to a hired worker for that number of years. If many years remain, they must pay for their redemption a larger share of the price paid for them. If only a few years remain until the year of Jubilee, they are to compute that and pay for their redemption accordingly. They are to be treated as workers hired from year to year. You must see to it that those to whom they owe service do not rule over them ruthlessly. So we need to watch out for our fellow man too, right? Make sure we're not getting screwed. Keep an eye on your buddy and just keep promoting good. Even if someone is not redeemed in any of these ways, they and their children are to be released in the year of Jubilee. For the Israelites belong to me as servants. They are my servants whom I brought out of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. So we need to remember to, 1, fear the Lord, 2, trust in the Lord, 3, fear the Lord again, because as we trust in him, if we think that we can handle things on our own, it's bad, and it always ends bad. And we're going to have to get taught a hard lesson about that. So let's continue to take care of our people and be responsible in our positions of authority. Fear God and love him, and I will see you soon.